The first chapter of the Bible, or the Torah, Genesis 1, known in Hebrew as Bereshit, is a very enigmatic yet simplistic scripture. It is simplistic in the aspect of it being the first ever page one reads whenever they open up a scripture. But it is very crazy and it's very in depth in the aspect of people are having a hard time grasping the context, perspective, and idea that Genesis 1 is trying to portray in terms of humankind and creation. You see, stemming from Genesis 1 comes two intellectual camps that have been at intellectual war with each other for millenniums. These two intellectual camps are the creationists and evolutionists. The creationists are people who believe in a more creationist narrative that God just immediately created mankind in its current form. Meanwhile, the evolutionists are the people who believe that mankind evolved consistently or gradually through an evolutionary process. Both camps, for however long they've been in establishment for, have both used Genesis 1 as their poster boy for corroborating this type of doctrine. However, we as neo-hermeticists and practitioners of occult sciences are laughing at these people's faces. Reason being is that they're taking a heavily powerful initiatory text and using it for their scientific reasoning. This is not a book about science. It is a book about the occult, wisdom, spirituality, astrology, shamanism, and thaumaturgy and theurgy. So when people come to view the scripture as a scientific reasoning, we as a neo-hermeticists can't help but try to show people the real interpretation that we have derived from the scripture. But what is it exactly? Well, what we're going to be doing here on the Ikhwan Astahab, or the Brethren of Gold in English, is showing to the world how we have all been lied to in terms of what is really the truth about Genesis 1. You guys ready? Let's get into it. So, what is the practical usage of Genesis 1 and day to day spiritual life? How is it applicable? And most importantly, how is it usable by the average practitioner? Well, Genesis 1, first and foremost, aligns oneself up with the 32 paths of Kabbalah, which can then get one started with the 231 gates of initiation. So, the 231 gates of initiation, as expounded on by Ron Clark, is a very powerful system that one can travel up through spiritually in terms of reaching from the kingdom down to Malkuth up to the crown, which is Kether. So, in the 32 paths of Kabbalah, one must travel up the tree of life with 10 spheres and 22 branches, which make up the 32 paths. And in Genesis 1, we get a full on expounding and a full on explanation of how this 32 paths systematically works. So, how is that the case though? How is Genesis 1 such an ancient Kabbalistic blueprint? Through its symbology, composition, and order of operations that Genesis goes through in terms of how things are created, it lays out a perfect Kabbalistic model of how the 32 paths and the 231 gates of the Tree of Life work. So, we're going to get started on talking about how each and every single verse of Genesis 1 aligns itself up with one of the either spheres or branches of the Tree of Life. So, if you guys observe the photo above, you will see a green looking abstract and very scrambled looking sacred geometrical pattern. What exactly is this? This is the 231 gates summarized in one picture because time is precious and summarizations are needed in today's generation. What is the pragmatic and practical usage everyone can look at and use to connect themselves with the 231 gates? Well, it is that photo right there. That photo represents the 231 gates. But how does it exactly? The reason being is there is only one line in that geometrical pattern. However, the direction that line goes is 231-fold, and it encompasses the circumference of the circle that holds each and every single Hebrew letter, all 22 of them. So essentially, the 231 gates is imagined as a yantra, not a mantra, but a yantra. A yantra in Eastern traditions is seen as a sacred geometrical pattern that is used to contain an energy or invoke a certain type of being. So, with the 231 gates yantra, we're gonna need a printout of this yantra in order to work with it in the video in relation to Genesis 1. But what exactly consists of the 231 gates yantra? Well, if you look at the next picture, you will see, and if you guys read the captions posted above, you will see there's actually a mathematical formula that constitutes this sacred geometrical pattern. It's not just there by accident. It's there because of an actual algorithmic cause that this yantra engulfs and envelops. And so when one is reciting Genesis 1 to this yantra, to this image, they are subconsciously invoking all 231 gates to come upon them while they open up the yantra using the scripture. So I want you guys to think of it like this. This image right here is a lock. It's like a lock almost. It's a spiritual lock. It has all this potential power and heka and energy locked into it. And the Genesis 1 is the key. You're using the Genesis 1 to open up the sigil, open up the yantra to extents that are greater than ours. So without further ado, guys, we're going to get into the nitty gritty of how each and every single verse of Genesis 1 lines up with either a sphere or a branch of a tree of life. And in fact, actually takes us right in to the field of working with the 231 gates of initiation. All right, everybody. So let's get started with talking about the 231 gates of initiation. If you guys see the picture posted above, you will see 22 branches of a tree of life characterized by Hebrew letters, and it extends to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spheres, which all make up the 32 paths of the tree of life. So, when one travels up this tree of life and when one path works it to its highest extent, they get started and reach the 231 gates of initiation. In the 22 paths of the tree of life, in the 22 branches, there is three classifications of the Hebrew letters: the three mothers, the seven doubles, and the 12 simples, which we'll get into later in the video. But 3 plus 7 plus 12 makes 22. So those are the three classifications of the Hebrew letters in the tree of life branches. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be coming for what you guys really have been awaiting. And that is the systematic explanation of how each and every single verse in Genesis 1 deals with at least a sphere or a branch on the tree. So deals with Genesis 1 verse 1 deals with Kether. Verse 2 deals with the letter Hey. Verse 3 deals with Chokma. Verse 4 deals with Beth. And verse 4 also deals with Vav. Verse 5 equals to Zion. Verse 6 equals to the sphere of Bina. Verse 7 equals to the letter Aleph. Verse 8 equals to the letter of Chet. Verse 9 equals to the sphere of Gedula. Verse 10 deals with the letter Tet. Verse 10 also deals with the letter Gimel. Verse 11 deals with the sphere of Gebira. Verse 12 deals with the letter of Dalet. Verse 14 deals with Tiferet. Verse 16 deals with Mem. Verse 17 deals with Yod. Verse 18 deals with Kaf. Verse 20 deals with Netzach. Verse 21 deals with Lamed. Verse 21 also deals with Hey. Verse 22 deals with Nun. Verse 24 deals with Hod. the sphere of Hod. Verse 25 deals with the letter Shin. Verse 25 deals with the letter Resh. Verse 26 deals with Yasad. Verse 27 deals with Samek. Verse 27 deals with Ayin as well. Verse 28 deals with Zadi. Verse 28 deals with Malkuf. Verse 29 deals with Qaf. And then finally, the letter Tav deals with verse 31. So if we guys see the Sephiroth right here, we have the 10 Sephiroth in Kether, Chokma, Bina, Gedula, Gebura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malkuth, each and every single one of the Genesis 1 order. Then there is the mother letters, which is Aleph, which is air, I believe, Mem, which is water, and then Sheen, which is fire. So if you notice, guys, this is the systematic explanation of how it works. So when one is reciting the verses of Genesis 1, they're aligning their body, mind, and spirit up with the paths of the tree of life, and once again, the 231 gates of initiation. Now, what if there was a further expounding on this concept? What if there was a further reasoning as to why each and every single sphere or letter lines up with one of the verses in the chapter? Well, fear not, because I am producing a book, guys, that is going to explain like not only the 32 paths of the tree of life or the 231 gates aligning up with Genesis 1, but I'm also going to be explaining how the Quran talks about the 28 lunar zodiac mansions and the 71st chapter of it, Surah Nu. So if you guys would like a better explanation, if you guys would like a further expounding upon what the exact like meaning is onto why each and every single verse is dedicated to each and every single sphere or branch, be sure to leave a like comment down below. But one thing I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to quickly skim through the 231 gates. When one deals with this thing, they are traveling through all of these gates. They're traveling through this, that, and the third gate 11 gate. See, you guys see all these gates that are being opened? Like I'm showing to you guys very quickly, but these are what the openings of the gates are when people try to attract Genesis 1 into their life. So your life could be forever changed if you use the scripture from a very pragmatic sense. The first scripture, the first ever chapter in the Bible. It's right at your hands, and yet it's one of the most powerful initiatory rites we can go on to as spiritual practitioners. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm gonna keep going until it reaches gate 231. But the general gist of why I'm showing you guys these quick photos is to show you guys that each and every single one of the gates of the 231 gates is perfected, powered, and used in each and every single one of the verses of Genesis 1. So thank you guys so much for watching. Eko Nastahab forever Genesis 1. Thank you guys so much for all the support you guys have been showing me. It's really meant a lot to me, and it's really just showing me the how much like improvement I can make on this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out.